Hi everybody, I'm Zach Beach with Pre-Property Solutions. Now you're thinking to yourself, I've watched the lease purchase video, how a lease purchase works, and why shouldn't I just do it on my own? It seems like a pretty easy system. Well, the truth is I definitely don't recommend it. I mean, we have over 40 years experience in our office, and we do these deals day in and day out. So we may make it seem easy and simple, but when you go out there and do it yourself, things, I wouldn't say get complicated, but there are some moving parts, and that's why we specialize in this, because we understand those moving parts. Now, I get this question all the time from different sellers, and it's, why should I just do it on my own? I just don't recommend it if you don't have the experience. Most of the time, I'll talk to a seller and they'll say, well, I've actually tried that already. So this is a seller that's already tried it. And I ask them, I walk them through our process and I say, hey, have you done your full vetting check on this buyer? Have you took in a non-refundable deposit, putting their feet to the fire and making sure that they are going to purchase it one day? Have you found out their mortgage readiness date? Meaning, have you put them in touch with a third party that specializes in credit repair or credit enhancement, if that's what they need? So if they're self-employed, they're going to need seasoning. So by getting them in touch with a third party, they're going to find out their seasoning date, or at least a very specific date. May not be 100% perfect, but you'll have a good aiming date in order to set your lease agreement around. Or let's say that they need credit repair. Now, you got to make sure that they're in touch with a third party to make sure that their credit is going to be at a point on which they can get their mortgage at the end of their lease. Most of the time, a seller is going to tell me no, no, and no. So the fact that you haven't set yourself up to make sure that your lease purchase buyer or your rent-to-own buyer is going to be successful tells me that it's not going to be successful. So instead, why wouldn't you rely on a company that has over 40 years experience and can make it completely hands-off for you and let us use our system? Now, we've spent thousands and thousands of dollars on making sure that our attorney agreements state the magnitude on which a tenant buyer is going through. So we want to make sure that the tenant buyer is going to be one day a buyer. So by having the buyer sign in front of our attorney and to fill out those agreements in front of the attorney is set up that way they understand the position that they're in and that they are becoming a home buyer instead of just a renter with the option one day to buy the property. Everything we do throughout our system is specifically set up in order to make sure that this tenant buyer becomes a buyer. Now, most people out there that don't have any experience or are just doing this as a onesie twosie don't have that set up. So instead, why don't you rely on us in order to help you get yourself to the finish line and get this property cashed out, which is your ultimate end goal, is to sell your property. So why not have us be your buyer, work hand in hand with the tenant buyer and work them through our process to make sure that they are successful. So before you go and just do a rent-to-own or a lease purchase on your own, please pick up the phone, give us a call. Our number's on the website. That way we can at least have a conversation and make sure that you're setting yourself up to succeed. And if we so happen to be the solution for you, we would love to be.